stuff. Oh, and it like hits me right in the back of my throat. Oh, dude, going down.
I've had some hard alcohol. I've had Jack
Daniels.
Daniels, yeah.
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels. Yeah, I've had Jack Daniels.
Dude, so
Um
I just
vodka.
went and I looked up some Glenfiddich, and I went
Yes.
to shopping,
Mhm.
and the first result is a so just for context, this is usually a $50 bottle of whiskey.
Mhm. Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's listed for $17 on eBay,
Buy it, dude.
used.
Nice. Okay.
Like,
So when does it arrive?
oh, oh, that's just the case.
Oh, you don't actually get the
That's not
liquid in
even
the.
the liquid.
I was gonna say, isn't it?
Ooh,
It's illegal to sell personal
dude, like,
alcohol over the internet,
hmm,
isn't it?
I think so. You have to have a license.
You have to have a license, and then
Yeah.
I think not even having a license, I don't think you can just
No, you
personally
can't because
sell it. You would have to
yeah,
come.
maybe.
I think you have to
I
like
guess it
come
depends.
personally to like the location where you're selling it.
No, because I was gonna try and buy some off of some Canadian whiskey.
So I just figured we could talk about the tabletop game thing since that's what
Yeah.
we're playing. But what all games have you played, and how expansive is this?
So like, let's see. I've played War Chest a couple times. I've played Cosmic Encounter. I've played
What's
uh,
Cosmic Encounter?
Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. I've played
That's a tabletop game?
yes.
Oh.
What do you mean a tabletop game?
Like I just thought that was like I just thought that like Baldur's Gate I think of like the video game, I guess.
So Baldur's Gate is a place in D&D,
Okay.
and like they've got a Baldur's Gate 3 coming out in Steam, which I would so love to play with you sometime. But
Yeah, I seen the trailer for it.
I've actually got the physical copy of Baldur's Gate Betrayal at
How does
Baldur's
it
Gate.
how does it play? Because I've
It's
never played.
so it's literally exactly like um, Betrayal at the House on the Hill,
Okay.
except it's with a a D&D
So,
twist. So the player that I usually play as is a elf
uh-huh.
with eldritch, and like you've got wizards and warlocks, and the wizards have fireball, and
So you
like it's
basically
all
get
built
a character and then it's
exactly.
randomized. So like you flip cards over as you move your characters through the dungeon.
Yes, just like Betrayal.
Okay. Yeah, I remember playing that one time Betrayal on Hill House. Is that what it's called?
Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
It's one of
Betrayal at Hill House.
Betrayal at the Hill, which happens to have a house nearby it, is whatever the title is. I played that one time with you and a bunch of people
Yeah,
at like Adam's
probably
house or something.
Brandon.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
at Adam's house.
Yeah.
But so that's the only. I haven't played many tabletop games. Um,
Define tabletop games. Like
like I think of
real
like
life board games, because the game is this PC game that we played is called Tabletop Simulator. So I'm
well,
trying
I
to figure out.
guess I don't know, like because like when you're little, like when I was little, I played a lot of like Monopoly, Clue,
Mhm.
which I guess would be tabletop games. It's just we played them on the floor, so I never thought of them as a tabletop game.
Okay, yeah.
But I guess recently, I'll play chess every now and then, like with my
Really?
dad, and um, I know. Did you know Alex is really good at chess?
No, yeah. Wasn't he going to go to the chess championship or something?
He's been in tournaments. So the highest score you can get in chess is 2400,
Hmm.
and he ranks 1700.
Dang.
Like 1700 is his score, I guess. Like on the
How do they determine the scores?
I don't know. I really don't know anything about chess and how it's scored. Like I always get excited if I find out about a unique move that I've never heard about before, like
Did you ever read
castling.
that whole Bobby Knight thing?
Wait, like the
The Bobby Knight.
The coach? Like the basketball
Yeah.
coach?
No. No. Hold on a second. Bobby Knight.
What's it relate to? Chess?
Bobby Knight. No, that's not. What the? Who is it? Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer. Maybe. Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer. Okay, Robert James Fischer was an American chess grandmaster and the 11th world chess champion. Some consider him to be the greatest chess player of all time. Interesting.
I have never heard of Bobby Knight or Bobby Fischer. I mean,
Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer. I don't know. I got a book by him from my uncle, and it was the coolest book ever because you could read through it one way, and then once you were done reading through it, you and then read through it backwards.
Whoa! What?
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can't find that Bobby Fischer book.
Wait, so you're saying like every sentence could be said forwards and backwards?
No. Teaches chess. That's the name of the book.
What do you mean you flip it?
Like you read through it,
Uh-huh.
and then you flip it around. Like you turn it 180 degrees, and then you continue reading it.
Oh, so like the letters are upside down and right side up at the same time? Is that what you're saying?
No, like they print it in a certain way. Let me the worst chess book I've ever read. Nice. I don't have a PDF of it. Cut this. Never mind, I didn't sneeze. I was gonna say like, what is it, Mike Warner? What is it? What's the warnings that they give? It's like
What warnings for what?
headphone warning. Headphone warning in 3 seconds.
Headphone warning.
Yeah.
So,
Bobby Fischer teaches. Okay, ePDF. If I actually had the dang book, I'd just go get it. But that's like not one of the things that I really cared to bring with me to my apartment. So
yeah. That is interesting, though. I like when people do strange stuff like that to like comment like you know, not every book can be flipped upside down and read and stuff like that.
yeah.
Not every book could be read because not everyone could read. Oh, but I did see a video of this guy, or have you seen it? This guy who plays 11 like grandmasters and chess players all at the same time. He plays against 11.
Like, I mean, I guess that's neat and all, but it's like,
Well,
okay, when's the guy gonna do 12? Like, I don't know. Like it's
well, the thing is, he's a magician. Okay, so it was part of a trick. He said he got 11 of them in there, and he goes, "Hey, I bet I'll play against all 11 of you." He set them up, like in a circle.
Yeah.
And then he went around to each one, and he's like, "I bet I could beat more than half of you in a game of chess."
Okay, and he played them against each other, didn't he?
Yeah, and so I mean, it's still impressive. So it's like because he had to remember who played what, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it is tricky because wait, was it 11? How could it have been 11? There's no way it was 11.
I mean, if he could count as maybe the 12th or something, but
Maybe
yeah.
that's what he did. I thought for sure it was 11. It might have been 12 though. But the memory like that is pretty crazy.
Well, they do a weird tricks because I've watched some not Ben and Jerry's, that's an ice cream. Who's the Penn and Teller? They do a
It's also a cartoon.
No, that's Tom and Jerry.
That's right. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay. So what was it? I was gonna say Penn and Teller. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a couple guys on who do like what did he do? They had this guy say, okay, he handed I'll have to watch it sometime, but Have you ever watched Fool Us?
Yes.
So they were on Fool Us with what's her name as the hostess,
The redhead
and
lady?
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like that's really demeaning, but that's all I can remember about
the
her.
lady on How I Met Your Mother. So
Yes. Oh my gosh, I
yeah,
didn't even know that. It's true.
yes, exactly, yeah. So uh, she was up there with the magician, and the magician hands her a book and says, "Okay, turn to this page and read line and what is it? Turn to this page and read it and look at any line."
Okay.
And she says, "Okay, I found the line." She says, "Okay, tell me what line it is." And she said, like 12. And he said, "Okay, the words are this, and this." And he says the words off, but he's actually holding a book in his hands and reading them off because they're standing back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking in the book, and he's using this other book, and he's reading them off.
Yeah.
And
So the audience knows this.
but she doesn't. And she's like,
Right.
"Wow, that's so good." And so they keep doing different tricks. And he says, "Okay, find a random spot anywhere in the book and read read like two lines, and or not read two lines, but find two lines and tell me what page and whatever." And she says, "Okay," and she finds a random spot and says, "Page 156 and line 32." And he says, "Okay," and he thumbs through the page a little bit. And he says, "Okay, line 152," and he reads the line word for word. And she's like, "Wow, that's amazing." And he says, "Okay, I apologize. I have to come clean." And he holds up the way and says, "I do have a fake copy, but if it means anything," he opens the book up. It's all blank pages.
Oh. That's cool.
Yeah, it was so cool because you're like, what is he doing? Like,
Yeah.
because he's
Is it like everyone like
it's
Penn and Teller, can you figure it out?
yeah, like it's a very and like they couldn't they got stopped. We'll have to watch it like later after
Yeah.
this because it's a very he's a very good entertainer. Like
Yeah.
that's the very interesting thing about magicians is that they're not only have to be very good at their job but also very good entertainers.
Did you know I used to want to be a magician?
Really,
Yeah. I like it was just
what
before.
stopped you? Did you try to pull a rabbit out of the hat and pulled out a zephyr instead?
Pull out a what?
A zephyr.
What's a zephyr? What are you saying?
Let me see if I
No,
can find a picture of one.
no, I'm just moving on. Is what I'm doing. No, so it was right before. It was like around high school, or maybe just before high school, and I had a couple of like magic books, and I had a few like magic set stuff. I had like these trick decks and stuff like that, and I started making my own magic book because it was just for me. It was like basically like a magic journal where I would write down like magic tricks and stuff that I had learned and like how to perform the tricks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could find it because there was actually a few of them in there that were pretty solid, but I guess the main point I was getting to is that like it it is weird to see, I guess, the other side of it, because have you ever like learned magic tricks and like how they're done and
I've watched a bit of Penn and Teller trick and how it's all misdirection
yeah,
and things like that. But yeah,
it's so weird to perform the trick and know how it's done, and like they talk about it all the time, like it ruins the trick. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
It's so weird then to see that, and I don't know. There's this weird like psychology of like when you're watching it on the stage and you're watching the magic and you're like, okay, I know it's fake, but it's still amazing how they do it. But that amazing thing could be something so simple as just like they just found a really like sneaky way that to like hide a card or to cover something up, or they just moved their hands really fast when you weren't
Mm-hmm.
watching. Like it's just so weird to think of something so impressive as like a magic trick to be accomplished by something that now that takes a lot of practice, but just like one or two movements that you'd be like, of course that's how you do it. Like you wouldn't even think that's how it's done because it's so simple and silly, but it feels so grandiose.
Yeah. Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
How many minutes in are we?
We are currently 16 minutes in.
Holy, we haven't even started playing yet.
No, I know. I should have started. I should have started the video as we started to play,
No,
but
it's fine. Like, it's still interesting to watch this, but like, I just dropped all my stuff off the table,
yeah,
and so we have to reset now.
yeah. I was
Oh my gosh.
in the back of my head when we were talking. I was reliving the fact of just like, oh yeah, this is what the table looks like. It doesn't. I wonder where the board is. I wonder when all the images on these cards are going to load in.
And I was literally just about to ask, did you ever learn how to change your perspective? Because like it had been sitting in the same
Yeah,
exact.
that's probably when I learned right there.
Yeah, you do know that you can use WASD to move around, right?
Yes, I think I was using
Okay.
the arrow keys, but yes.
Oh yeah, you can. Oh, interesting. I never really do the arrow keys.
Maybe I don't know. I do it later, so I don't remember how I did it, but it was one of those
Yeah.
ways. But you know, I when we went into this game, like what I didn't get Tabletop Simulator for a long time because even before you mentioned it to me, I saw it and I was like, "That's an interesting idea," but I don't think I'd ever like it because there is this sort of like draw to playing a game like physically with the pieces and stuff.
No, yeah, yeah. Like that's kind of why all the games that I've played on table, or at least most of the games I played, I all technically still own too.
Yeah. Like, why do you think that is?
What do you mean?
Like, it's the same game, and you argue, like, there's an argument to be made you have more options to do things in this than you do in real life, but somehow I feel like people would prefer to play the real life thing together. And I know
Here's why, and here's kind of why I prefer the real life.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
So, for me, it's not the same game because there still are limitations to like actually putting the pieces on the board, actually like being like it's if I were in VR and had like a full body suit kind of a thing, and I was actually like moving things around, it might be.
This is me testing out the blindfold.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It might. I mean, there's a whole lot of there's a ton of features for a whole bunch of different games. Like great for Werewolf and all of that. And what did you end up doing? Did you reload somehow?
No.
Oh no, that's me. I was going back through.
I think somewhere around here is when we drop to. Somewhere in here is where I get disconnected. Anyways, yeah, I would agree that there is that disconnect. I'm sorry. Did you want to finish your thought on the VR with the full body?
No, I mean it kind of was already finished. It was just that there's a tactile aspect that's missing, and it's just not quite the same. Because here's the really funny thing though. I actually played tabletop in VR, and I prefer it on the piece. Like I prefer it not in VR. Yeah.
Why is that?
Because you can't actually you can't reach out and touch things with the VR headset. You still have to use your keyboard, I think, from what I remember. Like I could look around and see the stuff, but yet I still had to like use my keyboard. I couldn't use like a.
So you had to point your little like laser thing at the projected keyboard and move around to like point.
No. I actually had to use my keyboard.
Oh.
I couldn't even use my wands with the VR.
That feels like that should be. That doesn't feel like how it should be.
No, yeah, I think that's why. If I could use my wands, then it might be. But I mean, that's the other thing about VR is that I've got a VR headset and I love VR, but like I hardly play any games in VR.
What do you think games will be like? Like, what's past VR?
So, okay, funny you should say that. I was actually reading an article today from Valve about Half-Life Alyx, and they were talking about how they really love to push the boundaries, and they really love to like look into like what's going to be the next big thing. And so Valve's founder, Gabe Newell, he brought up this idea of human-computer interaction, or not human-computer interaction, human-machine interface, basically brainwave computing. So you would put this thing on your head and it would like simulate the environment, simulate motor skills, and simulate optics and VR and things like that. So instead of you putting on something, like you've seen SAO.
Yes, Sword Art Online.
Think of it like a full dive suit. not a full dive suit. Think of it like a half dive suit or whatever, where you get into this state where you're sitting with a helmet on and it's like you try to move your arm or like
You
you feel like
think?
you're moving your arms and legs, but you're not, and instead you're moving them in the game. Or
Whoa.
or you are moving your arms and legs, but like they're moving them in the game. So you have no controllers and such. You just have um, it's just your nerves.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think.
I,
I'm sorry.
yeah, I didn't read much more of the article, so I haven't, and I was just looking into like some sort of how they would do that. But yeah, there's a whole bunch, and I feel like it's way far off. I don't think there's going to be anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so either because there's still preliminary stages of VR.
Yeah.
But the the cool like the one thing I was thinking about was imagining that in my head of like putting on like this sort of brain contraption and playing a game. Like how would it be projected onto a TV or would you
No,
like see
no.
the game in your
Here's
mind?
how I envision it.
Uh-huh.
It would be like dreaming.
Okay.
I think that's how I feel it would be because there are certain because I did a lot of research a while ago when I was super into SAO. There's a
You're
certain
still super
chemical in
into
your body.
SAO.
Yeah. Well,
I'm still super into SAO. It's awesome.
like what is it? There's a special chemical that when you're sleeping, it like puts your body to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes it to where you can't actually move your arms and legs.
Right.
So like there's a
That's when
certain
people wake up with like sleep paralysis and stuff,
yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes. I was going to say that it's sleep paralysis. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
I can't recall what the name of that is, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but somehow potentially in the future that could be something that they use is they put you into sleep paralysis state.
So would
And
games be like you have to take an injection?
I don't know.
That's weird. It's weird to think about.
I mean, who's to say they don't have some outer body material that can cause or maybe you just take a pill or something that like
Yeah.
paralyzes your body.
That's so strange. Like that's not far off, I would assume. I don't know. I've never really done hard drugs, but like that's so close to what like it would seem like drugs and like would be like you take and ingest something and then you have this experience.
Well, I mean, like it's in a sense, yeah. I
It's
mean,
so
in a sense,
crazy.
alcohol does a similar thing.
Yeah. Well, yes, it does.
So it's not. I could envision something along those lines of like it's something you ingest that like causes your body to not move or like to slow down or something.
How would I wonder what like the mechanics of like pausing the game? Like, can you imagine if?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you like how you would get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
That'd be. You could really turn into Sword Art
I mean,
Online.
yeah, it may not be a. I don't know.
Or if you, I don't know.
It
That's
definitely
scary to
seems
think about.
very far off.
It
But like
does.
here's the thing. Like I don't think that it would be a. I don't know that. I mean, you may have the times change. Like something else may come along that like changes us to where we have like implants in our body that might
Mm.
become a thing that's used somewhere else that just gets used for gaming. So like with phones and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
nobody really knew that phones were going to be a big thing.
Right.
And so now like using your phone as a virtual reality device or I'm trying to think of what some things that have changed just how we go about life.
Well, I mean, the internet is a
I
huge
mean,
one.
but
People
like
really didn't know what the internet
ways in
would be
which
like.
people were like, "Oh, hey, it's going to be like this in the future," but like it isn't because we don't have a need for it. Kind of like flying cars.
Yeah, that's the
Everybody's
first
like,
thing I thought it was with flying
yeah, it's
cars.
like we have a flying car, and it's like, well, why do you need flying cars when you can just telecommunicate with people?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, yeah, they're like, there's no point in having flying cars.
Yeah.
Or so, I'm trying to think of what else they've got. Like, because a lot of people think of, okay, the future is going to be a better version of what we have now, and it's like, not necessarily. It could be something completely different.
Mm-hmm. It's true. What do you think Tabletop Simulator will be like in 50 years?
50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there will definitely be some AR component to it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Where you sit down at your table and you have these blank pieces. So you would
Mm.
just basically buy a kit of white pieces,
Oh, why do they have to
and
be
then you
white?
would.
I'm kidding. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
yeah, white or colored.
Oh my god.
We can cut that
Yeah.
out.
All right.
We can. No,
We don't have to. I'm not.
we don't have to. Yeah, we're not. We're not. We're gonna cut down the video. We're gonna cut down everything except for that part.
It's just gonna be like a 3-second clip
Oh
extended
my
of this.
gosh. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
So
you get
you'd
these
have
pieces.
these pieces that were just blank pieces that had nothing on them, and they'd be like cards, whatever, and you would just set those out, and the AR would throw what they're supposed to look like on the pieces.
It's kind of like the Star Wars movie. You know when they're playing on the spaceship. Do you remember that?
Sort of, but those are holograms.
Yeah, but it's similar, right?
Yeah, no. Except instead of there being holograms, you just have this. You'd have this visor on.
Oh, I see. You know, the very first thing that I remember being anywhere close to VR was this game where you put. It was like this fighting game where you put. I was a little kid, and you put on this like purple visor, this huge chunky thing, and these wires ran down your arm, and you wore these strap-on like fist things that just wrap around your around your knuckles.
Yeah.
And it was like little lights in the game, and the shapes. There's like 8 impressions that would light up of this guy that you had to beat up, and he'd be like far away or close, and he'd be like in a blocking or attacking position, and you had to move your arms to correspond, you know, what he did to try to fight back, and it did not work very
so
well.
Weird.
It was awful.
Like,
honestly,
where'd you do this at?
It was. I think it was a gift.
Oh, like you actually like.
Yeah,
owned
like
it.
I owned it.
Oh dang.
And I didn't realize it then, but thinking about it now, it's like that was like early VR. You know, that was the
What year?
it was before I moved into town, so I had to been like maybe 8, so that's maybe
02? 03?
somewhere around there. Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah. Here's the crazy thing though. Like the guy who created virtual reality stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in like the 1940s.
Really?
Yeah. Like
What
it's
was
been
it?
around for a while.
Like what
It
was
was okay, it was called the Sword of Dameron. Let me think if I can.
Dameron.
Sword of Damocles. Sword of Damocles.
Okay.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. But basically, okay, so the reason why they did it, they called it the Sword of Damocles, is because the Sword of Damocles was a it was a sword that hung over like a throne, Damocles' throne or something like that. It was a sword that hung over the throne, and the sword was so big that it couldn't be like wielded.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look up the VR. But the reason why they called the virtual reality headset the Sword of Damocles is because the actual virtual reality was so big, it like hung over the person using it. Like it was a good like 200, 300 pounds. But yeah, it was with Ivan Sutherland.
Ivan Sutherland.
And 1966.
Oh, 1966. Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little. Sorry, I
was like 1940s. That's like.
Well, the thing is that he had
Depression
done a lot of
and World War II and.
Ivan Sutherland had done a lot of his work in the 1940s on like. Ivan Sutherland is basically the guy who came up with computer graphics. Like he's the father of computer graphics.
Okay.
Which, I mean, not to flex on anybody, but like I got to meet the guy and like talk to him, like sit down and like have a neat discussion with him at one point.
What?
That was pretty awesome.
How'd that come about?
I got to go to a conference for the 50th. It was the 50th anniversary of the Turing Award,
Oh, wow.
which was like a, yeah, I got to meet Charles Berners-Lee, who's the guy who created the internet.
Yeah.
I got to meet some other, there were a bunch of people from Microsoft. I mean, it was basically just those were the two guys, was Tim Berners-Lee, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, and Ivan Sutherland were the two guys that I got to meet
Wow.
that were, but like, yeah, meeting Ivan Sutherland, that was pretty interesting.
That is awesome.
Like,
So,
and
how
just,
old was he? He had to been pretty old, right?
oh, dude, he was like 70s, 80s.
I mean, did he look good? Was he?
I mean, he was sitting in a chair and he just, like, I got to sit down and have a good conversation about, he wanted to talk about World War II, like, the entire time. Like, I was asking, like, so, like, like, you're the dude who did, like, you're the father of modern graphics. And he's like, yeah, but World War II, you know why the Germans came back in World War II?
He's like
And
telling you
why
like trivia.
yeah, like he's like it was so interesting. Just like he didn't care about. He was at a tech conference, and all he wanted to talk about was interesting facts about World War II. And
Wow.
like
He
it
probably
was
gets
just
tired of talking about
yeah,
tech
I know. So I
stuff.
was like, you know what? I don't really care about this stuff. Let's hear what you have to say about World War II. It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And so we talked about how the certain embargoes on Germany is what caused it. So it's like technically it wasn't the Germans who were responsible. He didn't say that the Germans weren't responsible for World War II, but it was like you can't just blame them because it was like their nation was in poverty. They had no help from any of the Allied nations.
Yeah,
So they
that's
were all
true.
like, I mean, it's kind of like the whole when you put somebody in jail or in prison, like you're kind of screwing them over
Hmm.
because they can't do anything. They can't get a job. They can't rehabilitate.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you got to meet the father of graphics, the father of the internet. Um,
Yeah.
who else did you meet?
I mean, I got to meet. Let me just look up some of the other Turing Award winners. Um, Wait, Barbara Liskov, as in like the Liskov principle. Interesting. Tim Berners-Lee. That was back in 26. No, it was before.
Hmm.
I'm trying to see if there were any people that. Vint Cerf? I remember seeing his. I think I got to meet Vint Cerf or see him because I think he
Whichever
was.
way, you didn't leave much of an impression, huh?
Yeah. Well, he was the guy who created TCP/IP. Let's see who else were.
I haven't.
Fred Brooks, the guy
Oh,
who wrote
Mel Brooks' brother, right?
exactly. He wrote the Mythical Man Month.
Okay.
Um, oh, Ivan Sutherland. Yep.
This is I mean, these people are pretty far. Like I've heard of Ivan Sutherland, and
You have
definitely have heard of the Turning.
the Turing Award, Alan Turing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But it is kind of far out from, I guess, what I feel like my knowledge would be in. So I'm not super familiar with all these people that
No,
you're.
yeah, like I'm not either. Like this is like looking at the Nobel Prize laureates.
Yeah.
Like if you were to look through some of the Nobel Prize winners, it'd be like Peter J. Ratcliffe.
So what was the
Didn't
convention
he
like? Well, yeah.
with the wizards and Voldemort and he who shall not be named? I don't know. It was like
Frodo.
a bunch of loser college kids who were trying to quote network by thinking that they were all that and going around and trying to meet with all these big people and get good jobs or get referrals so they get good jobs. And then you had other adults acting kind of the same way. And then you had these big wigs who thought they were all that because they kind of were all that.
Hmm.
And then
So you didn't. It sounds like you didn't really have a good impression of her.
I just
conventional.
don't. I don't like these kind of convention things. They just no. It was a fine convention. Like
I've never been to a convention, and that's why I asked.
yeah, it's a bunch of people who you're celebrating people for their achievements, but like there's so much ego in a sense.
Yeah.
So like
Is
not that
does it
not that
feel like
everybody here has an
people?
ego.
Does it feel like people? Did you get the sense that people felt like they were important because they were attending the convention?
Yes, because I did. Like
Mm,
I felt like I was important because I was attending. Like it's a I'm not saying like I was looking at a bunch of people who, oh, those guys are all self-absorbed, and it's like no, I totally understood it because I was self-absorbed and trying to um oh
try to see what you could get out of it.
yeah
Yeah. I feel like that's natural though. I mean if you're in that position and you're there for however short a period of time you were there for, it's probably only natural for you to feel like to make the most of it, and make it count. Because it's not like you meet those guys every day. People like that.
no yeah so it's like you do have to have some respect because you do what is it you do kind of they do kind of they have a right to be egotistical because
So would you have you been to other conventions?
nope just that one.
Would you be interested in going to other conventions?
Are you saying we're going to Gen Con in Indy this fall?
I would like to announce to you, yeah, just in time. They're at reduced prices now because of
Are,
coronavirus.
are you serious?
No, I'm pretty
Dang.
sure they I'm pretty sure they postponed the event. I
Dang.
don't. If it's in the fall, I don't know. They might come
I
back.
would love to go to Gen Con. That sounds amazing.
I don't know. I keep thinking so what exactly is Gen Con? I've heard Gen Con a lot, and I have an
So
idea that comic books and
it
video
is
games and
it is a general or as a general convention.
okay.
That's literally what it stands for. Is general convention. So it's just
Is it pop culture?
well, that's PopCon.
Okay. So what's general? What's a general con?
Just anything. Board games, video games, comic books, TV people from like sci-fi and animated shows and things like that. Um,
Okay.
Stands selling merch. You've got like panels with
Is it
people.
is it all entertainment industry industry type stuff, or is there business like things there as
Define
well?
business.
Well, would Dunder Mifflin Paper Company be going in there and trying to sell paper?
Yes and no.
Okay. I
Not
know.
Dunder Mifflin, but
Right, I know that they're.
board game companies,
So is
and
it centered around games and entertainment? I guess is what I'm getting at.
it's big on board games. Like Gen Con's a big board game convention, but it's also
Okay.
like it's just a big like nerd convention.
Okay. So
Best way to
there
put it.
there
Because
is
you've got
a.
cosplayers. You've never been to a convention, have you?
I've never been
Yeah.
to a convention, but I've seen pictures and I've seen people
So speaking of
vlog
convention,
about it
I
and
have been to PopCon.
indie popcorn.
Yeah, yeah. Total train wreck. Would not suggest going back.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's like
Because that's kind
there's
of a big one. There's a lot of big
no,
names
no.
that go there.
Gen Con is the big one. Gen Con is the big one.
Well, I mean, for I guess local, it's the biggest one in Indiana.
No, no. Gen Con. Gen Con is the biggest one in Indiana.
Oh, does it come to Indiana?
Yeah, Gen Con is
Oh.
like Indiana's big thing. Let me.
Oh, snap! I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gen Con is the largest tabletop game convention in North America by both attendance and number of events.
Wow.
Location, Indianapolis. Attendance, 60,000 in 2016.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty big.
No, yeah, it's like the place to go for board games.
Hmm. I've always heard the connotation that it's super smelly.
No, I mean it kind of is.
It's super smelly there.
Like I will not deny it's definitely.
Is it just people not showering, or why is that?
There are 60,000 people packed into
Is it all
a
inside?
convention. Yeah, like
Okay.
it's board games. So like if it rains, you don't want to have board games outside.
I didn't know if they
But
had
it's
like windows open and.
sort of. But I mean, it's a convention center. Like you've been to the Ivy Tech Convention Center, right?
Yes. It's
There
like,
aren't any windows there. There's
yeah,
like one entrance.
gotcha.
Super fire safe.
Yeah. Make a hot box for everybody. Oh, we just got reconnected back to the game. Lost connection. So, honestly, it sounds like hell to me to go to a convention. I'd have to go
It's
to a small one because I'm not a big people person, honestly.
no, like here's the thing. You dude, like everybody there are introverts. They're all like neckbeard introverts who don't like talking to people.
What are you saying about me?
You wear a fedora?
I used to. I don't anymore.
Really? Really?
No, I didn't actually. I had those flat caps. You know, like,
The flat bills?
yeah, like that you would think of, like the little
You
English boys would wear and be like,
you
"Hello, Mom, I've got my flat bill."
that's not. But no. Yeah, I would definitely say you need to go to a convention. They're hella fun.
Well, which one would I go to? Because which
Probably. I mean,
which one would you recommend for me? Knowing me as a friend.
I would honestly say get okay. So they got Gen Con. They have Comic
You've
Con.
already
They
sold me
have.
on not going to Gen Con.
But like, here's the thing. It's crowded, but it's. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a similar situation that you've been in where it would be crowded.
Hmm.
I mean, think just like the lunchroom at IUK when
Mm-hmm.
it's like noon.
Yeah.
It's crowded, right?
Yeah, I hate it there.
Yeah. But
When it's
like,
crowded.
but like, you're not like shoulder to shoulder with people.
Right.
Like,
Though that'd be even worse, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't stand being in the lunchroom around noon.
there's places to go where there's not a bunch of people, but like, you go and you check out the board games, you play board games,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I have to say, I've never actually been to Gen Con, but I've been to PopCon, and like, you just kind of walk around and buy stuff and play board games and go to panels.
What did you buy there?
I bought some weeb shit.
Is that where you got your pizza shirt?
No,
Oh. What'd you
no,
get?
that I got two swords.
Oh, right. Oh, did you the Sword Art Online swords?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you showed me
And
those.
Austin Thompson got the Carito black jacket. So the
Nice.
yeah, what the heck was I even thinking?
So, like, I can't tell, Dean, if you're, like, ironically weeb or if you're actually weeb.
I'm ironically weeb. I will say. I will say though, I wear that shirt every night. It is so comfy.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to, whatever we talk about in reference, I'll have to put links to in the description for this
Yeah.
video.
See if
That,
we can maybe get some. We can get like a what is it? A sales ad revenue or something from that. We have our own merch page.
yeah, that's, all of our merch should be, like,
It's a
anime
picture. Literally,
based.
we'd sell a shirt that's a picture of me wearing the pizza shirt
Oh, like, well, we should
on
sell
the
a
shirt.
shirt of you replacing the girl on there, but keep the hair. We'll like Photoshop the hair onto you.
We
No,
say I don't have
we'll
enough
make
hair.
the pizza out of the girl.
We'll just shoot a porno with you in it, and
Put it on a
put that
shirt on loop. It'll play.
Wait, why don't we just upload a video of that
We should.
straight to YouTube? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, why are we recording video games?
Yeah. I bet it'd be a lot more fun to just have sex.
Uh, Hi, mom. Tabletop Simulator is a great game. You guys should buy it.
Yeah, sounds great.